I'm not disagreeing about abuses that Catholics committed. By George, we've got reformers in our own church, St. Dominic, St. Francis of Assisi, many others, but they stayed Catholics. But they saw there was rot. St. John Fisher, on the eve of the Reformation, said, this is our Anglican Bishop of Rochester, he said that the church must reform itself. Unless it does, if it doesn't do it, God will do it. And by heaven, God did it in Bishop Fisher's lifetime. And Bishop Fisher, one of the greatest Catholics in England, was beheaded by Henry VIII. So even the good can be killed when God takes control of the situation, because our leaders won't do so. So it's very sobering for us to know that. Yes, but you see, if the church had reformed itself way back, we probably wouldn't have had a situation arising in England the way it did. I know we can say there's a discrete problem here. The English king wanted a son. It's understandable because his father had come out of a civil war. So, it was very important that England did not go back into civil war. So I appreciate that. But the duty of a Catholic king is to put his faith in God and let God resolve it. It's difficult, I know, because we were in civil war and this was a Catholic country. Nonetheless, he had bastard sons. He had the Duke of, I can't remember, but the Fitzwilliam, I can't remember his name. Fitzroy was the name that the bastard sons of English kings would have. So, if a corruption of the French, Fitzroy king, right? So if you meet anybody called Fitzroy, you know he's got royal blood in him. Anyhow, it's an aside, never mind. What God will do, he would give graces, we call graces, the kind of power of God comes into us and into the church when we obey God's will. If Bishop Fisher had been listened to, we might not have had a Reformation. Henry VIII was not the main problem. Henry died a Catholic as he saw it. He believed in all the seven sacraments. He believed in the doctrines of the church. He was just the boss, that was it. He was the boss in England, that was the thing. But his son, who became king after his daughter became queen, his son Edward VI, he moved the church towards Protestantism. And that was the problem. Because Queen Mary, as we know, she died childless of her marriage to Philip II of Spain. And so the country went downhill in my perspective. But God would have supplied what England had needed had England reformed itself. But God's reform can be brutal, as the Jews of the Old Testament found out, right? And that's the Reformation, the brutal reform of God, of his Catholic Church. That is not that the reformers were reformers in the true sense, but the Catholic Church got itself reformed at the Council of Trent to really ensure that the remains of Christendom would not disintegrate and that the Americas would be thoroughly Catholic. Because there were a bunch of pagans over there needing to be baptized and evangelized, and that's what happened.